Calling all authors, the Your Book, Your Voice podcast with host Robert A. Lane features everything you need to know about narrating your audiobook, but it doesn't stop there. We have special guests lined up from all aspects of the book publishing industry, and we also dive deep into what it takes to be mentally prepared for success as an author and in life. So please welcome your host, Robert A. Lane.
All right, greetings, my friends. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Thank you so much for joining. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. We are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. And if you're not familiar with who I am or what I do, I am an audiobook coach and producer. Basically, I help nonfiction authors. Hopefully you are a nonfiction author, and hopefully you are a published nonfiction author. I hope so, or at least you're working your way towards it, which is great. So what I do is that I help nonfiction authors turn their book into an audiobook. So with you as a nonfiction author, you need to narrate your own audiobook because it's your story and nobody can tell that story better than you. So I have an audiobook coaching program, which is called Your Book, Your Voice, where I take you as the author through the process of setting up your own recording space, where you can set up a great recording space with professional equipment in your own home. Maybe you have a home office or a bedroom or a studio or somewhere that is comfortable, of course, for you to record. And then I teach you the fine art of audiobook narration, how to do a great narration, how to be compelling, how to keep your listener engaged from opening credits to closing credits. And once your audiobook is recorded, the next phase, of course, is making sure that your audio files sound great, of course, and also meet the exact specifications for publication. All right. And I focus on getting you published on Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books. The AAA is what I call that, Audible, Amazon, and Apple, because those three distribution platforms are the most popular, and really the general public goes to Audible, Amazon, and Apple first before they start looking at other distribution platforms. So as an author, it is really important for you to be on those distribution platforms. By the way, if you want more information about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program that I teach, you can go to my website at robertlanecoaching.com. But the best thing is let's have a chat. Let's have a conversation, because I talk to any author that's interested before I enroll anybody into the program. We have a chat and we talk about your book and what your marketing goals are and your strategies and what you want to do with your audiobook and what you want to do with your book in general as an author brand. And then I'll give you, definitely more details about the audiobook coaching program. So if you would like to schedule a call with me, by all means, do so. We're going to put up a quick graphic for you to check out. This is where you can book a call. And again, for those of you that are hearing the audio-only version of the podcast, we do have a graphic for the video version, but you can book your call at bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. Okay, bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. Book your call with me. I will talk to you directly, and we'll find out what you want to do with your audiobook, what your marketing strategies are, and get you set up and enrolled in the program. And the audiobook coaching program that I teach is 6 weeks. So in 6 weeks, you'll have your book recorded and uploaded for publishing into Audible, Amazon, and Apple, which is a really great thing. And we do all the audio editing for you. We make sure your files, your audiobook, again, meets the exact specifications for publication, and you're guaranteed published. And of course, you as the author retain 100% rights of your audiobook. We don't take any royalties from that or credit or anything. It's all yours, okay? So that's what I do as an audiobook coach and producer. And I've also I used to work in the entertainment business, so I have 30 plus years working in entertainment, and part of that, not only working on the corporate side, but on the production side, 20 plus years of audio editing. So that's part of what you get in the audiobook coaching program is expert editing. So you sound fantastic. And by the way, you can go to robertlanecoaching.com. If you scroll down on the homepage, there are some samples of authors who've gone through the program, and you can hear them narrate their own audiobook of little clips that are up there that I think you'll enjoy. And you're like, yeah, I can do that. And you can. You really can do that. So today's topic, though, we're going to be focusing on audiobook distribution. So the first thing is, obviously, number one is you've decided that you want to narrate your own audiobook. Great decision. You definitely need to do so. And as I mentioned before, no one can tell your story better than you. That's what makes you so unique. Your voice, technically, is already in your written word. Your style of writing is your voice. Your pacing, the way you choose your words and how you express yourself, that's all you. That's what makes you so unique. So it only makes sense for you as the author to narrate your own audiobook because you're just bringing it to life. You're bringing that book to life. And there's no other better way than having you do it. Another narrator, no matter how professional and great they are, it's going to be their interpretation, not yours. Because maybe there are words or phrases or sentences or even maybe sections in your book that you would emphasize in a different manner. And the narrator that you're having narrate your audiobook isn't doing it the way that you want it to. So again, as a nonfiction author, you really do need to narrate your own book. So you've got this great audiobook. Now what? Now you need to get it distributed. And it's really important that you figure out, and I've mentioned this on past podcasts, about how important it is to really understand and map out what it is that you want to do with your author brand, because you are an author brand, you are a business. As a published nonfiction author, you're a professional. You're a brand, you're a business, you're a professional, you are a creative, which is such a great thing to be able to write and publish a book. Just like a singer or a painter, being a creative is a great thing. And you just need to, first of all, of course, embrace the fact that you are a professional, and you should treat yourself and your authorship as a business, as a professional business. So when you are getting ready to publish and distribute your audiobook, you want to make sure that you have your marketing strategies down. You know what you want to do. You really need to have a firm grasp and map out what it is that you want to do for your author brand and what's best for you, because that will actually help you decide on where you want your book distributed. Now, the first thing that a lot of people do is they think, I need to be anywhere and everywhere. I want to be on every distribution platform on the planet. And that may work for you, but 9 out of 10 times it really doesn't, because it can create more confusion for your readers and listeners when they're trying to find your book. It might be easier for you to be on only a handful of distributors so that you can tell people and market and promote it. I'm on Audible, or I'm on Spotify, or I'm on whatever platform that you are on. I'm on Apple, I'm on Amazon. That way, it's easy for you to market your book, and it's easy for you to tell people where they can find your audiobook. So those are things that you definitely need to think about from a marketing standpoint, because again, this is your business. You are the CEO of you. The decisions that you make for your business are your decisions. You're in charge. So make sure that you have a really good idea of how you want to utilize your audiobook and where you want to be distributed. I will use my book as an example just to share with you my thinking and my thought process when I published my nonfiction book. Again, Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books. I want to be on those 3 distribution platforms, as you should be, because again, the general public goes there first. And again, another thing to remember is that people ask for audiobooks not just by saying, "Hey, do you have an audiobook?" I can't tell you how many times I hear people say, "Hey, is your book on Audible?" "Oh yeah, I grab my books off of Amazon or Apple." They ask for it by brand name, which is another reason why it's very important when you're doing audiobook distribution that you do consider putting yourself on the AAA, Audible, Amazon, and Apple, because that's what people go for, and that's what they ask for. So again, knowing your marketing strategy, I want to stress that because that is really important, is going to help you decide where you want to be distributed. So anyway, so when I published my book, I did publish a book. It's called Lights Action You, and you can get it on Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books. And when I decided to, or when I wrote my book and I was going to publish it, I knew that I wanted to turn it into an audiobook. And so you have, of course, distribution choices. Now, I know for sure that, or I should say, I knew for sure that I wanted to be on Audible, Amazon, and Apple. So that's what I focused on. And when I decided to publish my book, I was going to narrate myself and get it published on those platforms. Now, looking at the distribution of where, being in the United States, being where the book will be distributed, because you go to the ACX, which is the platform where you upload your audiobook to be published on Audible, Amazon, and Apple. And I looked at where they distribute, and they hit the countries I wanted to be in. There was really no need to be anywhere and everywhere for that particular book that I wrote. So, being in the United States, UK, Ireland, Japan, Mexico, Canada, those countries, that's perfect. That's exactly where I want to be. That's where my audience is. That's where I need my book to be marketed and promoted and distributed. So that also, by knowing this, that also tells me, okay, do I want to be exclusive with distribution with ACX on Audible, Amazon, and Apple? Or do I want to be non-exclusive? Well, for me, I wanted to be exclusive because they hit the territories I want to be in. So there is a difference in regards to the royalty payout. When you sign up, for example, with Audible, Amazon, and Apple, you will be distributed with a 40% payout if you're exclusive with them. If you're non-exclusive, it's a 25% payout. Now we're going to dive into that and also talk about a lot more other distribution platforms as well. But we do have to take a quick break. You're listening to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast, and we are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. Don't go away. We have a lot to talk about and a lot to cover about audiobook distribution. All right, so stay tuned.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
All right, we're back here on the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Thanks so much for joining. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. I am an audiobook coach and producer. You can go to robertlanecoaching.com and find out more about what I do as an audiobook coach and producer. Again, specializing in helping nonfiction authors narrate their own audiobook and getting them published on Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books in 6 weeks. Because honestly, it really doesn't take you months and months and months to record your audiobook, narrate and record your audiobook and get published. If you're focused and you have a coach, which is why I love doing what I do, you will get your book done in a very timely fashion. All right. Oh, by the way, I do have a freebie for you if you would like to get an audiobook narration reference guide. Check it out. This is a great guide I put together. It's a free download that gives you tips and tools and techniques on how to do a great audiobook narration. And it covers both the practical aspects like mic placement and body posture and how to be consistent with volume and those types of things. And it also talks about other important aspects of doing a great audiobook narration, which would be the intangibles, which that is your emotion, your energy, tapping into your core reason of why you wrote your book, things of that nature, because the intangibles are really, really important. And that's what takes an audiobook from just being average to one that is just fan-frickin-tastic. And that's where you want to be. So if you want to grab this audiobook narration guide, it is free. You can grab this link. It's bit.ly/narration reference guide. That's all you need to do. That's the link. bit.ly/narration reference guide. So grab your free guide and check it out and enjoy it. You can always grab it on my website as well. All this stuff is on my website to book a call and to also grab that guide if you go to robertlanecoaching.com. Now, we are talking about audiobook distribution. And I was just talking about ACX, which is where you get distributed into the AAA, which is Audible, Amazon, and Apple. And again, how important it is to be on that distribution platform. Now, there are other distribution platforms that you can be on. There are a ton of them. There are just a whole bunch of them. And that's why, again, I stress very strongly about how important it is for you to understand what your marketing strategies are and where you need your audiobook to be. Okay. Also, you need to figure out whether you want to be exclusive or non-exclusive, depending on where you're doing your distribution, or maybe you have a book that would do great internationally. So having it distributed on some of these platforms that reach worldwide, that could be a great thing for you as well. But again, understanding what your needs are really important. Okay. Now, again, all nonfiction authors need to narrate your own audiobook. I'm going to say it a million times because I'm a firm believer in that. And again, it's really important to understand not only about you narrating your own audiobook, but maybe you have other intentions that you want to utilize your book, your audiobook for. For example, maybe you've just written a great story and you want to share your experience because you know that you can help people. Or maybe you're a coach. Maybe you've written a book about how to be an entrepreneur, or maybe you're a life coach or a career coach or a relationship coach, or maybe a weight loss coach or a nutritionist, or maybe you're an educator and you've written a great teaching book. Or if you're a poet, God, it'd be great to hear you, the author, recite your own poetry, of course. Or maybe you've written a children's book. Would love to hear you, as the author, narrate your own children's book. But again, it's not just only sales where your focus should be. Because again, if you are a coach, or maybe you do have a great story that you want to share or tell, or maybe you do have a poetry book that you've narrated, or again, a children's book, you can use your audiobook as a calling card to get speaking gigs. Maybe as an author who's written children's books, you can start locally and then maybe branch out regionally, or maybe branch out nationally to get yourself booked to do speaking engagements at libraries or schools. Same thing with being a poet. And especially if you're a coach, or if you do have a book that is inspirational, that would be great for businesses or corporations or clubs or events that you can do a speaking engagement. I've had clients, authors who've gone through my audiobook coaching program, who've actually done exactly that. They've taken their audiobook and they send clips, or they actually give the audiobook to the event planner and say, hey, yeah, this is what I sound like. This is what I do. This is a great example of my, how I speak and how I engage with the topic of my particular book. And then you can also give them a copy of your ebook, paperback, or hardcover as well, which is always a great thing because event planners love that. And that can actually help you book some speaking engagements. So that is something to think about in regards to marketing strategy, and also for distribution, that you can utilize your audiobook as a tool to get other gigs, other paying gigs. So not only are you boosting revenue through your other products, which of course are your ebook, paperback, and hardcover, but now with your audiobook, you have one more format in your arsenal that can help generate more revenue, and of course get people to hear you tell your story. And again, the audiobook world is growing and expanding, and has been over the past several years. It is a multi-billion-dollar business. We're looking at, by the year 2030, that revenue sales for audiobooks should be hitting about the $30 billion mark worldwide. And that's just an insane amount of money. But again, it's just showing you how popular audiobooks really are, and why you need to have your book turned into an audiobook, and of course distributed. Now, there are other distributors that you can go through, and there are a variety of ways that you can approach it. Okay, so one way would be for you to just figure out, okay, I want to be on Google Play Books, or I want to just be on Apple Books, or maybe I just want to have my books in libraries, or maybe I only want to be on Audible, Amazon, and Apple, or maybe I want to be on Kobo or Hoopla, or there's a ton of them, Barnes and Noble, Spotify, depending on, again, what your marketing strategy is and where you feel would be the best way or best place for you to have your audiobook distributed. That's up to you, and that's something that you need to figure out as a business. That's why, again, embracing your author brand as a business, as an entrepreneur, is really important, because these are some of the decisions that you're going to have to make. Now, you can approach all these different platforms, but that's one way of doing it if you only want to be on certain ones. Or you do have other options For example, there's Authors Republic, which is a distribution platform where you can get distributed on Audible, Amazon, and Apple. You got the AAA. Plus, you can also choose to be distributed on all their other partners that they have. And I think they have probably about 40 of them. So Authors Republic is one distribution platform that gets you on multiple platforms. The other one that comes to mind is Findaway Voices. Similar, where they will get you on multiple distribution platforms. And depending on which one works best for you, again, do a little research and figure it out which one will work best for you. Now, for me, if I was going to go non-exclusive with Audible, Amazon, and Apple and decide, hey, I want to go ahead and get distributed on some of these other platforms in other areas. Let's say I want to be more international and cover different territories. Then my first choice, just for my purposes, would be Authors Republic, because I feel that they're more user-friendly in regards to getting set up and getting distributed through them. Findaway Voices is a little bit more technical, I'll just use that word, to get published with them. But again, they're also a good distribution platform as well. Actually, let's look at that for a second, because those are probably one of the two, I find, the two popular distribution platforms to be on multiple platforms: Findaway Voices and Authors Republic. Now, of course, they both have a wide distribution network, which is great. They also, again, you have to be non-exclusive on Audible, Amazon, and Apple to be distributed on the rest of the platforms that they distribute to. But for me, I like Authors Republic because it is much more simple to submit and process your audiobook. For Findaway Voices, they also distribute to, I think, well over 40 retailers and libraries, just like Authors Republic does. Now, they say that their royalty rate is that you get 80% of royalties after their retail cut. Now, you have to understand that what that means, because, for example, that 80% is after the distribution platform gets their cut. So, for example, let's say you're distributed on Audible, and you have, obviously you have to be non-exclusive, all right? So you get 25% royalties from Audible, Amazon, and Apple, okay? Now, what you are getting is 80% of that 25%. So you're not getting 100% of that 25%. You're only getting 80%. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're looking at your distribution payouts. Again, do your research and figure out what they pay, whether you go with Findaway Voices, whether you go with Authors Republic, whether you go with another distribution platform, or maybe you want to hit up some of these other platforms individually. And we're going to take a quick break, but I do want to talk about some of the other distribution platforms that are out there, just so that you're familiar with it, and that may help you decide where you want to be distributed. There's a lot of information that I want to share with you, but we do have to take a quick break, which we're going to do right now. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane, and we are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Don't go away.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them. often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
And welcome back to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Your host, Robert A. Lane, is here with you. And we are live on the Bold Brave TV network. We're streaming live. And again, if you are interested in turning your nonfiction book into an audiobook that you narrate yourself, which you definitely should, I would be more than happy to tell you more about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program that I teach, where I take you through the process of recording your audiobook, setting up your own recording space, teaching you the fine art of voiceover, narration, how to do a great audiobook, and getting you published on the AAA, which is Audible, Amazon, and Apple. You need to be on those distribution platforms. I know our topic today is about audiobook distribution, and those are the platforms you definitely need to be on because most people go there to find their audiobooks. And that's what I do as an audiobook coach and producer. And by the end of the 6-week program, you will be published on those 3 distribution platforms. And the first step you need to do, again, because action takers are success makers, and the only action step you need to do is just to book a call with me. We're going to put up my calendar link up there on the screen, and of course I'll let you know what the link is for those of you that are listening to the show and not seeing the video portion of it. Book your audiobook consultation call with me. I would love to speak with you and find out more about your book and give you more details about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program. So that link to schedule your call, again, this goes directly to my calendar link, and you will speak with me directly. I don't have some other team of people. You do speak with me. So here's that link. It's bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. That's bit.ly/audiobook onboarding to schedule your call. Look forward to speaking with you. And of course, again, you can always go to robertlanecoaching.com, which has more information about the audiobook coaching program that I teach. And of course, you can schedule your call there as well. Now, audiobook distribution, again, if you know what works best for you, where you want to be distributed, where, maybe while you are selling your ebook, paperback, and hardcover, you're looking at the metrics and the data that you're getting from your sales, and that'll give you an idea of where your book is selling. And you're like, great, I'm getting most of my sales off of Amazon, off of Kindle. So maybe just being on Audible, Amazon, and Apple for your audiobook would be the best place to have distribution. Or, maybe you've distributed your book, whether it's the ebook, paperback, or hardcover, and you're selling books to libraries, and maybe you're selling books on Barnes and Noble, for example. If those distribution platforms are working great for your book, definitely consider those as distributors for your audiobook. So, again, analyzing your sales, your metrics, and seeing what area and works best for you as a business. This is what you do as an author. You are an author brand, you are a business, hopefully you're embracing this great business of yours, and that will help you figure out where you want to be distributed. Now, I did mention that there are a lot of distributors out there, and places like Authors Republic or Findaway Voices will get you on these distribution platforms through signing up through them and getting your audiobook distributed through them. So there are places like Google Play, Spotify. There is audiobooks.com, which is another place. Now, again, going through a distributor that gets your audiobook out there to multiple platforms, distribution platforms, is the easier way to do it, unless you do want to contact each distributor one-on-one. You can, but going through Authors Republic or maybe Findaway Voices would make it a little bit easier for you. But again, audiobooks.com. Chirp is another place that you can get your audiobook distributed. Basically, Chirp is owned and operated by the same people who run BookBub. And if you're an author and a publisher and you've done some promotion, maybe you are familiar with BookBub, but you can get your audiobook distributed there. There are other places like Hoopla or Scribed is another place that you can get your book distributed. Now, if you wanted to be, let's say, on Scribed, you do have to go through either Authors Republic or Findaway Voices or a distributor like that, because they don't distribute directly. Like, you can't just approach them directly and say, hey, I want my audiobook on Scribed. And they're going to say, well, you're going to have to go through a different distributor. That's just how they work. Now, there are other places that you can be distributed. For example, there is, as I mentioned earlier, Kobo, or there's places like Audiobooks Now, or even other places that do, I know I mentioned Spotify, but even other platforms like, I'm drawing a blank here. I'm drawing a blank. I can't believe that. Like Deezer or Napster, they also distribute audiobooks. So there are music you can get distributed there as well, which is YouTube Music. So there are places that you can be distributed on. Now, again, going through a place or a distributor like Authors Republic or Findaway Voices gives you the opportunity to test the waters, and that is something to think about. So, let's say you have a book and you're ready to turn into an audiobook. You're going to narrate your own audiobook. You go through the process. Hopefully, you will get somebody to coach you and help you through that process so that you do it right and you do it properly and that your audio files sound great. And now you're ready for distribution. So a couple of things you can do. Again, knowing what your marketing strategies are, very important. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, for me, when I distributed my book as an audiobook, I narrated my book, did all the production, of course, did it right and properly to make sure that it meets the exact specifications for publication. And then I was like, okay, I want to be on Audible, Amazon, and Apple. The AAA is great for me. That's all I need to do. And I am exclusive with them. Now, if you want to test the waters, this is another thing that you can do, and it's really not such a bad idea if you're unsure of maybe where your audiobook will do in regards to sales. And you can go through, again, Findaway Voices, or you can go through Authors Republic and get your audiobook uploaded through them, and then choose whether you want to just be with all their distribution partners, or maybe you just want to do Audible, Amazon, and Apple, or you can do them all. Again, the difference to keep in mind is with Audible, Amazon, and Apple, through ACX, you need to have a non-exclusive agreement with them, which has a 25% royalty payout. But that does give you carte blanche to be on all the other distribution platforms and all the partners that Authors Republic and that Final Way Voices have to distribute your book. Now that really isn't such a bad thing, because then you can, as I say, test the waters. Maybe there is a distribution platform that really works well for you. Maybe it is libraries, or maybe it is Kobo, or maybe it is Barnes and Noble, or maybe it is Spotify, or who knows? Maybe you have great sales that are happening on some of the lesser known ones that don't come to mind right off the bat. When people think Audible, oh yeah, they know what that is, but maybe you're selling your audiobook rate on Storytel or BookBeat or even Hoopla, or maybe it is Next Story or Deezer. I mean, there's so many of them. Bookmate maybe, but this is really a great way for you to test the waters. So maybe having your book distributed through a partner like Authors Republic or Final Way Voices will give you the opportunity to, again, be on all their partners. Again, they both have over 40 different distributor partners for audiobooks, and just see what works. Again, you can always change it. If being on 40 plus other distributors isn't really making that much of a difference in regards to marketing and sales and getting the word out there, then you can just choose to only be on Audible, Amazon, and Apple. Maybe that's where you're getting most of your sales. So again, knowing what you want to do with your book, where you want to be distributed, testing the waters is a great thing, because as an entrepreneur, you are an author, you're an author brand, and you are an entrepreneur. You can do these things by testing and seeing what works and what doesn't. That's all part of entrepreneurship. This is what we do as authors, as writers, as publishers of a book, right? You're a nonfiction author, you got a published book. This is what you do as an entrepreneur. You take calculated risks and you see what works and what doesn't. If something doesn't work, or maybe you try something and it doesn't work, that's okay. That's all part of the process of being an entrepreneur. And then you can figure out, okay, why didn't it work? Do some analysis. Oh, maybe I should have done this, or hey, next time I will do that instead. So that will, again, teach you, and again, it's all a learning experience. And that's what's so great about being an entrepreneur, because it is a learning experience. But remember, take calculated risks. Don't just do things on a whim. I know spontaneity can be a great thing at times, but when you're running a business, you really need to do your research, and you really need to be smart about how you run your business, because you just, it's that old adage of, grabbing that handful of spaghetti and throwing it up against the wall and seeing what sticks. Sometimes that works, but you know what? 9 out of 10 times you're not taking a smart, calculated risk. You're just being spontaneous, being spontaneous, and that may not be the best way to run your business. Just something to think about. All right. Okay, we are going to take our last break for this edition of the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Don't go away. We have more to talk about. Again, I'm your host, Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. If you want more information about what I do as an audiobook coach and producer, you can always go to robertlanecoaching.com. We are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Don't go away, my friends. Have some more great information for you coming your way.
Author, Radio show host and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation.
And we're back with the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. You can find out more about what I do as an audiobook coach and producer at robertlanecoaching.com. We are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Thank you so much for being here. Again, our topic today is audiobook distribution, obviously a very important aspect of getting your audiobook out there. Just to summarize what we've gone over so far on the podcast today, again, you need to be on the AAA. Audible, Amazon, and Apple, which is why in my audiobook coaching program that I teach, that's where I focus getting the authors who go through the program published. Those three platforms you definitely need to be on because that's where the general public goes. It's their number one choice. You know, some people may say, well, you know, there's other distribution platforms that are better, and that could be the case, but hey, you got to go where people go, right? You got to go where the general public goes. So you need to be published on those distribution platforms. Now, again, it is really important for you as an author, your author brand, as your business to know what your marketing strategies are in regards to what you want to do with your audiobook, where you want to be distributed, in addition to Audible, Amazon, and Apple, what works best for you, and just have that mapped out and what your goals are. Because that is really important in regards to deciding whether you want to be exclusive or non-exclusive with some of these distribution platforms that have that, where you need to be exclusive or non-exclusive, like ACX. To be on Audible, Amazon, and Apple, you need to be exclusive or non-exclusive and decide what you want to do. And again, that does come down to where you are marketed, and you know, again, being anywhere and everywhere may not be the best choice for you as an author. Maybe just being on Audible, Amazon, and Apple, the AAA, can be enough. That's where your book is distributed. That's where your sales of your other formats of your book, like your ebook, paperback, and hardcover, are happening, and it's all good. Now, for those of you who are in other parts of the world, for example, I did a podcast with a great book coach from Australia. Jessica Muddett has a book company called Hembury Books. We talked about audiobooks, and I know that a lot of her clients want to be distributed on Audible, and they are not able to get on Audible directly like you can here in the United States, where you can just go to ACX and set up your distribution account and do your thing. So they do need to go through another distribution platform to get on Audible via Authors Republic or Findaway Voices. So what I've done in my audiobook coaching program for my international clients is I take them through the process. And again, since I do all the uploading for them, I get them distributed through Authors Republic because, again, for me, that is an easier way and just a simplified way to be published. And the process is a lot easier. But again, if you are enrolled in the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program, I take care of all of that for you, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, speaking of the audiobook coaching program, again, the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program that I teach is a 6-week program where you set up your own recording space, and I guide you as your coach through the process, not only of setting up your own recording space, but teaching you the fine art of audiobook narration so that you are compelling, so that you are engaging, so that your listener is just on the edge of their seat from opening credits to closing credits because they love hearing you as the author tell your story. And again, if you're a nonfiction author and you got a published book, and even if your book has been published, maybe it's recent, or maybe you published a book a few years ago, turning your book into an audiobook is a great way to resurrect that book, bring it back to life by having you narrate your own book. And part of the program that I teach does deal with the mindset aspect, because you do have to be in the right frame of mind before you even hit that record button. You have to love and embrace your voice. Don't hate your voice. Don't say, I don't like how I sound. Because how you sound and the way you speak is all part of your uniqueness. And that's why you as a nonfiction author need to narrate your own book, because nobody can replicate you. Not another narrator, definitely not AI. And I would avoid any of these companies or these ads that you see, have AI narrate your audiobook. Avoid them like the plague, because they do not represent you. That's what makes you so unique. That is what attracts your readers to you, because they love your style. They love how you speak, because your voice is in your written word. That's what attracts your readers to you and your followers to you. So the most qualified person to narrate your audiobook is you, and you need to do it. So I would love to help you and guide you and get you published on Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books. And the simple step that you need to do is just schedule a call with me, because I do talk to all the clients that are authors. When they become clients, I like to talk to them before I enroll them, because you know what? It is a business relationship, and I want you to feel comfortable working with me just as much as I want to feel comfortable working with you. So your simple step is just to schedule a call with me, and that's just a really easy thing to do. Here's the link to schedule a call. It's my calendar link. Book a call with me. I'd love to hear from you. bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. Book your call. I would love to speak with you, and let's talk about your book. Let's figure out what your marketing strategies are, and we'll get you enrolled in the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program. Again, that's bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. All right. You can also go to the website at robertlanecoaching.com. Has all the information about the audiobook coaching program, and also how to book a call, and the freebie too, of course, your audiobook narration reference guide. But I'll give you that link real quickly as we wrap up, which is bit.ly, of course, narration reference guide. All right, my friends, with that, we're going to wrap it up with this edition of the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Thank you so much for being here. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane. Your final assignment is this: when you're out in the world, smile at a stranger, say hello to them, give them a compliment, because that small gesture of kindness can make the world a difference in somebody's life. And I want you to be a good human. Be good humans. Make somebody happy. Smile at them, all right? Say hello to them. It's just a great thing to do, all right? With that, my friends, thank you so much. We'll be back next week on the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Again, go to robertlanecoaching.com for more information about the audiobook coaching program that I teach. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network, and we'll be talking to you next week. Take care, my friends.
This has been Your Book, Your Voice with host Robert A. Lane. Tune in each week for another powerful and informative episode of Your Book, Your Voice, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network.